have a plan.
How's he doing? Like after he's had his surgery, right?
Okay.
He's doing okay?
Yeah, it looks a lot better. Yeah. Wow. Happier since the lighter present shot. Yeah. I guess things like that, hopefully. So, yeah.
Krishna's always very kind, but I don't do many humbling situations.
Good. Yeah, and meditated on it. So, trying my decision.
Very nice. I'm sure everything will work out exactly like it's supposed to.
Yeah.
What can we do? You know, we're just like insignificant little specks drifting about with the modes of nature.
Yeah.
Direct senses and the causes of action, different types of activities of the body and the mind. Just be sincere. Try to be on the whatever makes sense.
Balaram.
We're never going to be perfect. We try to make the perfect decision every time.
And
Trust in relationship.
thought I'm doing I forgot the gist of it. I watched it. It's really
Huh. Yeah. Sounds cool.
My Facebook message?
I saw that
message me, but I didn't.
77. Usually people are late, so we can start at 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Your lights. I don't need to move. Your lights on in your bag. That would be great.
Thank you so much.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Yashodanandan Prajajanarandana Yashodanandana Prajajanarandana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Paramahansa Rudikacharya Ashtotar Shri Srimad Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Shnupad Paramahansa Rudikacharya Ashtotar Shri Srimad Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai, Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the sum of the devotees. All glories to the sum of the devotees. All glories to the sum of the devotees. All glory to Shri Guru and Gauranga.
All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga.
Are you done? Pull those curtains. Pull those curtains. Oh, so don't take this in the wrong way. Go ahead, keep going. But because you didn't spend time in the ashram, this is what we learned. When it falls, touch it to your head. Okay, go ahead. There's the book. Here's a book for you. There's no verse today, so you're going to need that book. Oh, I guess not. Narayan Namaskritya Narang Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriye. Since you can do it without the book, let Lyle use the book. Or maybe you could sit together. You can sort of do it without the book. Okay. Let's see. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of concourse, we should offer our respectful obeisances unto Lord Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the Goddess of Learning, unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author, and unto Srila Prabhupada, the translator, commentator, and our spiritual master. Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtaki. Third canto, chapter 24, text number 28. The wrong book. Oh, that's the next volume. Just give him that wrong book. It's for moral support. Okay, we're all set now? Let's see. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Well, that lifts up now, the English translation. Our regular attendance in classes on Srimad Bhagavatam, and we're rendering devotional service to the pure devotee. All that is inauspicious in the heart is destroyed almost to nil. And loving the devotion to the Supreme Lord is glorified in the best of songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. And I guess you three are the ones who want to get rid of all things in your heart and establish a irrevocable fact. Very fortunate. And now, on this 5th day of July 2017 in SanDiego, we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Still in Canto 3, the status quo, chapter 24, the renunciation of Kardama Muni, text number 28. Bahujanma vipakvena. Okay, time out. Can't hold it that way. Give me the book. You can't put your elbow on the book. This is a holy book. Head. All right, let's try it again. Bahujanma vipakvena. Samyag yoga samadhina. Drashtum yatante yataya. Shunyagadeshu yatpadam. Bahujanma vipakvena. Samyag yoga samadhina. Drashtum yatante yataya. Shunyagadeshu yatpadam. Shunyagadeshu yat padam bahujanma vipakvena samyag yoga samadhina drashtum yatante yataya Shunyagadeshu yat padam. Adrian. Bahujanma vipakvena samyag yoga samadhina drashtum yatante yataya Shunyagadeshu yat padam. Go ahead, Larry. Bahujanma vipakvena samyag yoga samadhina drashtum yatante yataya Shunyagadeshu yat padam. Bhakti Zach.
Bahujanma
vipakvena
samyag yoga samadhina
samyag yoga samadhina drashtum yatante yataya Shunyagadeshu yat padam. Word for words. Bahu, many. Janma, after births. Vipakvena, which is mature. Samyak, perfect. Yoga samadhina, by trance in yoga. Drashtum, to see. Yatante, they endeavor. Yatayaha, the yogis. Shunya agadeshu, in secluded places. Yat, whose. Padam, feet. Translation. After many births, mature yogis, by complete trance in yoga, endeavor in secluded places to see the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. Some important things are mentioned here about yoga. The word Bahu Janma Vipakvena means after many, many births of mature yoga practice. And in other words, Samyag Yoga Samadhina means by complete practice of the yoga system. Complete practice of yoga means bhakti yoga. Unless one comes to the point of bhakti yoga, or surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one's yoga practice is not complete. This same point is corroborated in the srimadbhagavatam. Bahunam janmanamante, after many, many births, the jnani who has matured in transcendental knowledge surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Karma Muni repeats the same statement. After many, many years and many, many births of complete practice of yoga, one can see the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord in a secluded place. It is not that after one practices some sitting postures, he immediately becomes perfect. One has to perform yoga a long time, many, many births, to become mature. And a yogi has to practice in a secluded place. One cannot practice yoga in a city or in a public park and declare that he has become God simply by some exchange of dollars. This is all bogus propaganda. Those who are actually yogis practice in a secluded place, and after many, many births, they become successful, provided they surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the completion of yoga. Om Jnana Timmadandasya Jnanandana Shalakaya Chukshu Unmidatam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble obeisance unto him and all members of Sri Parampara. Adridaran Prabhu. Can you relocate here so I have a more central audience? Larry, you can stay there and do the laundry. Ryan, thank you for coming. Okay. So, Karnama Muni is in a secluded place with his wife, Devahuti, and he's describing the glories of what's going to happen, which is that Kapila Muni is going to describe in detail the yoga practice. But as we hear, of course, this is Srimad Bhagavatam, it's not Patanjali Yoga Sutras, and we're going to hear, first of all, the first chapter is called The Glories of Devotional Service. But eventually we'll hear a lot about meditation and the process of meditation. He gives a wonderful description of the super soul in the heart. It starts with the lotus feet and goes up to the knees, and gradually, very beautiful description, comes to the lotus face, and then it says ultimately one should concentrate one's mind, because this is the yogi, on the laughter of the Lord. That's not Patanjali yoga. That's bhakti yoga. And Karma Muni is making it very clear here, and Prabhupada is emphasizing in the purport, that the complete process of yoga means to come to bhakti yoga. And we have in the Prabhupada references the Bhagavad Gita. Now the Bhagavad Gita, as you have hopefully discovered, is like a yoga ladder. Prabhupada uses that word, yoga ladder. And Bhuijan Prabhu in his commentary book, Surrender Unto Me, he uses that a lot. It's a ladder, progressive yoga. And the idea is progressive because not everyone is ready to immediately take up bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga, which means surrender, full surrender unto Krishna, is a very frightening thing for most people, because there's so much involved in the material world. How can I surrender unto Krishna and just do everything for Krishna when I've got to maintain my wife and my kids, and I have to pay off my mortgage and everything, and my student debt, which is now a bigger debt than anything. So, therefore he starts with karma yoga. In the second chapter, Krishna gives a nice summary of everything, and there he describes the state of the highest bhakti yogi, right in the middle of the chapter. What is it? Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partavanogatam atmaneva madatushta sthitam pragyastadocide. He's describing that one who is completely fixed in consciousness, his intelligence is fixed. And one of the first qualification is complete abandonment of all material desires. Well, that's a very advanced state. That's not for the household, or just beginning on the practice of devotional service. I mean, it's for them as a goal, but it's certainly not describing that state. So in the second chapter, it's a summary of everything, and he gives some very wonderful descriptions there. He also has the description of the body and the soul, and the nature of the soul, the A of the ABC. So, but throughout the Bhagavad Gita, so you start with karma yoga, which in the third chapter, where you're working and then giving off the fruits as far as possible for sacrifice. Yagyartat kamanon yatra loko yam karma bandhana. The key verse in the third chapter, verse number 9, where he says, all activities, as far as possible, should be performed in the spirit of jagya. And jagya is another name for Vishnu. So in other words, give off to Vishnu. Otherwise, whatever you don't sacrifice to Vishnu will bind you to this world. There's a great concern in that third chapter for its karma yoga, for activities and their results. That we're already bound up by the results of previous activities, and if we continue to act fruitively now, we'll stay bound up in this world. So that's the third chapter. And then you have this wonderful section at the end about a real enemy. What's our real enemy, Zach, in this world? Well, karma is the answer to the third. Yeah, karma leads to those other things. There's no anger if you have no material desire. That's why Prahlad was completely peaceful. He had no material desire. He was tormented by his father, but he wasn't angry at his father. And the proof is that he asked for his father to be forgiven after all he had done. Remember at the end, after he was killed, he said, well, please forgive him for it. This is the sign. So karma leads to krodha. That's in the second chapter also. Kamat krodha vijayate. Because why? Well, if you're always full of material desires, they're naturally going to be frustrated. Forgive me, always on Dwadasi, I get these cramps in my feet. So you become angry. You become angry at the world, you're becoming angry at whoever you perceive is impeding your desire, and that anger is a door downward. Anger is a very destructive force. So then in the fourth chapter is called Jnana Yoga. So it's not enough just to work very hard and give the fruits to Krishna. One has to cultivate the knowledge. And that's why in the fourth chapter it said those sacrifices which lead to knowledge and which are done in knowledge completely are much more fruitful. In other words, they give a better effect, which is ultimately detachment and progressive attachment to the Supreme. And that's nicely explained in the 5th chapter, which is also Karma Yoga, but it's a more further description of the benefits of Karma Yoga, and it leads to Brahma Nirvana. There's a lot of that. Liberation in the Supreme, in the 5th chapter. And now, and then in the 6th chapter, it's dealing with Dhyana Yoga. So Dhyana Yoga is, you're not fooling around anymore. You're not working in the material world and giving your fruits to Krishna. No. Go, get out. Brahmachari, go to a secluded place in the Himalayas, sit on a sacred seat. But the main thing is alone. There's all of this. And Prabhupada in that 6th chapter, and in the talks he gives on the 6th chapter, which are wonderful. You want to hear some really wonderful lectures. They're all wonderful, but these are especially fired up, because Prabhupada is in a battle. There's all of these yoga studios coming up, and people come to the temple and they think they know yoga. He saw directly in his with Dr. Mishra in the studio, people practicing, and he felt that they were cheating people, because as Prabhupada says in this purport, this is in that mood, that complete yoga must come to the point of bhakti yoga. And it's just to what does he say in here? It is not that after one practices some sitting practice, he immediately becomes perfect. Or pay some money, get a mantra, become God in 6 months or something, It's a huge scam. It's a huge scam. And now, it's so much developed. I mean, in the years since then, the last 50 years since Prabhupada started, the hot yoga, what is that called? Bikram? All right, turn up the heat. Why turn up the heat? So that they have to take their clothes off, practically. So you have I'm saying, this guy he's been accused of abusing some of the students, the lady students. It was all, turn up the heat, so take off, so they're wearing just tights and this. It's horrible. It's the worst corruption of yoga. So Prabhupada is in a battle, and so are we with this false yoga. And the fact that, people, okay, you can go, you do your hatha yoga, you feel better, But understand that there's a whole greater depth to what yoga really means. Yoga is the means by which we can achieve the real goal of life. And so Kapila Deva is one of the first chapters, all glories of devotional service. He has that sadhu sangashtaka, the importance of association with sadhus, focusing on hearing and chanting. It's going to be quite an adventure. We get to the next chapter, you'll see. Unless one comes to the point of bhakti, one's practice is not complete. Now Prabhupada references the Gita here, Bahunam Jamananante Jnanavan Mam Papadyate. So there he's describing, what leads up to that is that there are 4 kinds of people who come to me. Now in describing that, Chaturbadha Bhajante Mam Jana Sukritanojam, there has to be sukriti, they have to be pious. If they're demonic, then they'll reject it, the very conception of God. And they'll try to be little gods. This is our disease. So when it gets too extreme, it becomes demonic. So, the pious. So if someone is pious, and there's 4. Arthar, Jigyasa, Artarti, and Jnani. So the most common thing is people are distressed. They're distressed in life, because the material world is dukali and majasada. So we have religion, so we'll go to church, and we'll pray to the Lord to please relieve my problem. I have so many, and then in the association of so many others who are also chanting those same hymns, and then you get some emotional relief right there. So that's the first thing. Then artarti. Now this is also a kind of distress. They're not mutually exclusive. One of money. That's a big distress, not to be able to pay your rent. So there's an overlap there, obviously. And then there's those who are curious. It's like someone will come to the temple. Now, there needs to be, and Prabhupada emphasizes this, there needs to be discourse about God. Religion isn't religion unless you become progressively interested in hearing about God. If you read the 2nd chapter, 1st canto, those wonderful verses from 2:6 to about 2:20, the first one is Sabai Pangsang Paro Dharma. What's the supreme Dharma? What's the supreme religion? That which arouses love, bhakti, for Adhokshaja, for Krishna, the transcendent Lord. And such religion, to really satisfy the self completely, has to be totally unmotivated by any material motivation, and uninterrupted. This is a high bar. This is the Bhagavatam. It starts with that first canto, second chapter. And a few verses later, he says, Dharmak svanaschitak pungsam. We just heard this one in our Monday class, Prabhupada class we're having now on Monday. Dharmak svanaschitak pungsam vishraksena katasuyak notpariye jadiratim shamahevihi kevalam. Not mincing any words. So you may do your dharma, su anushtitak, this word appears in the Gita also. Your duties within your varnashram dharma, that's also a kind of dharma. You may do them very nicely, but unless they gradually increase your desire to hear about God, shama evahi kevalam. Who can say what that means? It's shama evahi, this is like one of these phrases, it's worth knowing. Shama is hard labor. And eva kevalam means only. In other words, all the hard labor that you do, the only result of it is the labor itself. You got a good workout. In other words, there's no result for it. It's a lot of work in your swadharma, in your so-called swadharma materially, but if it's not deepening your interest in things transcendental, then you're not making progress toward the goal of human life. It's like if like we all drive, right? Everyone drives, or you used to drive? So, you have to know where you're going. Now they have the GPS. I used to be a taxi driver back in the day, in 1970. Not in the city, near New York City, but still all over the island. We didn't have any GPS. You had maps and you gradually knew the routes and things like that. So the idea is that when you get a call, you have to get there as fast as possible. Or when we want to go someplace, we want to take the direct route. You don't want to go around road. So you get on the highway and you're going nice, you're going 55, 60, maybe 70, 75. I don't go faster than 80. I found that they won't grab you for it. But if you're going the wrong way, it's worse than nothing. Right? So-called dharma that's not moving you toward the goal of pure love for Krishna, as evidenced by your interest to hear about Krishna. It's like if you love someone, you like to hear about them, you want to hear from them, right? So if it's not provoking that, then it's shamahevihi kevalam. This is the idea. But Krishna is very liberal. He says, anyhow at all that they come to me, because someone who's not pious is not going to come to Krishna. The last place they'll come is a temple, a mosque, or a Hare Krishna temple. If they're impious demons, they don't want to go there. So, they come through the door, and now the fourth one is Jnani, who really is interested. He knows something and he wants to cultivate spiritual knowledge. Krishna says, of all of them, Tesham Jnani Nityayukta Eka Bhakti Vishishyate. Now he's practically describing the pure devotee, who's one-pointed in bhakti. They're all liberal, these people. They're all good. But the best is the Jnani, who's my very self. And then he chants this verse that Prabhupada quotes here. Bahonam janmanam ante jnanavam apapadyade. Because he mentions many births of cultivating knowledge. We don't know how many births we had in the previous cultivating knowledge to come to this point of actually being part of the Hare Krishna movement and having all the knowledge spread before us and the means for doing it and at such facility. We're so fortunate. So, bahonam jnanavam apapadyade. One who's truly in knowledge, what is the result? He surrenders to me. This is the result of all the cultivation of knowledge. That means all those big yogis and Maya bodies and all those who don't surrender to Krishna, they're not as fortunate as we are. At least know that we should surrender and making an effort to surrender. You see what I'm saying? Because let's think of the science of it. The yoga this Ashtanga Yoga in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and Kapila Deva will talk about it. You've got this whole process. It's almost like a scientific process. We've got the body, gross and subtle, mind. This is what we got to work with, right? And we know that we want to liberate this soul from the body. We want to connect with the Supreme. But all of this confusion of the mind and the senses pulling us here and there, this is preventing us from being in that consciousness. So we need a way of purifying, of controlling that. Here it is, it's authorized. Patanjali says, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So now we go alone and practice the pranayama in such a way, there's Shastra for all this. But it's all kind of artificial. It's a way of like manipulating. It's just like taking a machine, because the body's a big machine. And if you turn the dial this way and that way, and you do this right with it, and your computer, maybe you plug it in, you'll get the result. You know, but there's no bhakti there. There's no natural, glorification of Krishna. Krishna's not even part of it at first. Yam, niyam, moral codes, asana. I used to do asanas. Of course you have all of this standing on the head and everything. But then there's a real thing, which is the asana, how to sit. Took me a while to get to the lotus posture. But while I'm doing that lotus posture and working on the knees, I'm not thinking of Krishna. I'm thinking how I can sit nicely and all this stuff. So it's all preliminary. You're really just manipulating the machine. So, and if you do it just right, the power comes. I remember, I didn't really advance very much in yoga, but I became really healthy. That in itself was a great thing, because I had been run down, my health, hepatitis, and so, I'm healthy, I'm eating right, of course, vegetarian, raw food and everything. And then from the breathing is very calming and energizing. I've often thought, because I worked as an inhalation therapist, so I also was into the actual medical part of it. And normally when you breathe, you're using like 1/4 of your lung, because there's all of this extra for, taking their view of like where we needed to be able to run real fast from the lions or something. You have to have a lot of capacity, because the body also needs to be able to exert itself tremendously. So then, you learn in the yoga process that I was doing at the same time, how to take this yogic breath, where you get this, you fill the lungs up completely, and then you hold that, and it's just, you feel the energy going in your body. You take a few of those breaths, and if we would breathe like that all the time, I think we would get, ward off a whole lot of diseases. But there's no bhakti in any of this. So the idea is that, you can go for many, many births of doing this, because the cities come, the power comes, you can go to America and get a following and get money, There's all kinds of diversions. Has nothing to do with bhakti. So after many, many births of cultivating this kind of yoga and knowledge, the wise one surrenders unto me. So this is all part of that seventh chapter. But then he describes there how one can get deviated from that. And he's talking about the demigods, how one can worship the gods, who can give one so much benefit. There's all kinds of deviations. We can, here in America, nobody knows demigods, but from nothing. But so many diversions you can find for your mind. You get a little bit clear. You get, you're feeling good about yourself, and naturally the enjoying spirit is out there. The mode of passion is right there. If you associate the wrong way, if you're a little weak on your rounds, the enjoying spirit will come up again, until we're on a very, very pure platform. So that's the process that we go through. But these yogis, they go with many, many births, cultivating this, the different cities and the different postures and all of these different things. And it's not complete, because the verse in Prabhu picks up on this word. Samyag yoga samadhina. Samyag means perfect and complete. And yoga samadhina also means the ultimate state. And it's not mentioned in this verse, but it's understood and will be by the context of the teachings, that culminates in bhakti yoga. And we find, so many of our acharyas, it reminds me of Madhavendra Puri. He was at the highest state of prema bhakti, conjugal, And he has this verse, morning ablutions, I offer my obeisances to you. Basically, goodbye. In other words, not that he's going to take a bath in the morning, but the whole ritual of, worrying about, just taking it precisely at the right time, in the right place, facing the right direction, just from the sun. Not necessary. Get up in the ashram, take a cold shower, come down to Mangalarti. We don't have to say any mantras. We don't have, it's very simple. So Madhavendra Puri's point is there, I think I'm satisfied just serving the lotus feet of Krishna. I don't need all of this other stuff. So, but to get to that point, to get to this point of just, sitting here at the lotus feet of Shri Shri Radha Giridhari, and in a temple that's wholly and solely dedicated simply to bhakti, and being, firmly plugged in to the Gaudiya Vaishnav tradition and the books and be at Srila Prabhupada's lotus feet, is very fortunate. You're taking many, many births. So the idea is, don't waste it. We should try to come to that perfection of yoga, which the perfection of yoga, includes all the benefits of the Ashtanga yoga. But the idea is that the mind has to be engaged. The danger is that we get into that Niyamagraha platform, where we're kind of going through the motions, but we're really not engaging our mind and our intelligence. And so, this is why Srila Prabhupada, he wanted us to study these books, discuss them, write articles about them, really absorb the mind and the philosophy. And in Srila Prabhupada's mood and his absolute faith and realization that he's revealing to us in these purports. So this is a great run-up to the appearance of Kapila Muni. Kardama Muni is describing how one can eventually see the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, and we have that opportunity. We see the deities, the lotus feet every morning, and we know that the holy name itself is not different from Krishna. Just by absorbing ourselves in chanting the holy name, eventually the form, the Nama Rupa Guna Lila, there's a progression. Just from chanting, the form of Krishna becomes more revealed, the qualities of Krishna. But at the same time, we're given those qualities in the nectar of devotion. We're given the form in like a million paintings and the deities we can see. And so we don't have to wait to see them, but to see them with spiritual eyes and a pure vision, that takes dedication and enthusiasm and advancement. So I'm going to read this translation once again. I'm a little bit spaced out from the fasting. Forgive me, it wasn't too coherent. After many births, mature yogis, by complete trance in yoga, endeavor in secluded places to see the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Any questions, comments? All right, let me give you a few verses about the lotus feet of Krishna. This is one that I can chant. Anyone can learn it. I'll teach you. It's from a book called the Hari Bhakti Kalpalatika. This is a far book. It was discovered by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and there's no author attached. There's wonderful verses. It goes through the 9 processes of devotional service. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he liked it so much, he printed it. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati also kept it in print. And Kushakrata translated it. It's part of the Veda base now. So one of the verses I memorized in there is about the lotus feet of Krishna. I like to chant it sometimes in front of the deities. Spudadamalanda kendu kanti kantam navakamaloda rashona maviram nkonatakanupadam papadye kishalihikomanamatchatang vipadam. So, spudad amala nakendu kanti kantam. So the kantam is the effulgence, or the beauty, and kanti is the effulgence. So he's talking about his toenails. Naka indu. Naka is the toenails, indu is the moon. So this pristine effulgence is emanating from his toenails, and it's like moonshine. And it said, we're going to read about that in Kapila Dev eventually. When he's meditating on the lotus feet, that's the first meditation, the yogi's meditating. Sanchinte, that's the verse where I forget the verse now. And he says, and you meditate on those lotus feet, and then there's the toenails, and that effulgence emanating from the toenails it acts like a thunderbolt to destroy the great mountain of sin accumulated in the heart of the meditating devotee. These toenails are important. So, Spudadamalanda came the kanti kantam, the very beautiful toenails emanating this soothing moonshine effulgence. Spudadamalanda came the kanti kantam, Navakamalo and Shona Mahavirama. So Navakamala means a freshly grown lotus. Now the lotus, as within it, of course, is a blue lotus, and within the inner portion, it's a little reddish. So he's describing now the soles. The komala means very soft. So Navakamaloda Shona Babiramam. Shonama means red. So very attractive reddish soles on those lotus feet. And then Kranatakanakanupadam, golden ankle bells, which are tinkling very softly and attractive. Kranatakanakanupadam papadhi kishaliya komanam. I bow down to those kishaliya komanam, these soft lotus feet, which have they look like just freshly grown sprouts. They're that soft. Kishaliya Komanam, Achyutam Vipadnam. The lotus feet of Achyuta, Krishna. The whole verse together, see if you can think of the meaning. Spuda Damala Nakindu Kanti Kantam, Navakamaloda Dashona Mabirama, and another one, Queen Kunti's prayers. How do we see those lotus feet? This is what this is all about. Shinvanti, Gayanti, Granantya Bhikshnasha, Smaranti, Nandanti Tabehi Tanjana, Taheva Pashyant, Achidena Tabakam, Bhava Pabaho, Padamam, Padambajam. That last line is describing the lotus feet. So the first thing is hearing. She's described different ideas about devotees, why Krishna appears. And then she really concludes that you've come to revive the process of hearing and chanting and bhakti to you. And so this is all about hearing and chanting. So Shinvandi Gayanti Gunanti Bhikshnasa. Those who are unceasingly hearing about you, singing about you, Shin Gayan, Gunanti, and accepting others doing it, hearing others doing it, and Nandanti, taking great pleasure in doing so, with hearing and chanting. What are we hearing and chanting about? Your activities, your pastimes. Tava ihitam. Ihita is a word for lila. It means the same thing. Those janas who do that, those people, what happens? Taheva pashyant achidena tavakam. Not a long time. Achidena means doesn't take birth, depending on your intensity. Bhava prabaho padamam padambajam. It's a wonderful description of the effect of that lotus feet. Padambajam is lotus feet. Bhava prabaho. So bhava means birth and death. The word bhava means becoming. And usually in the context of our Shastra, it means becoming old, becoming dead, becoming born, and become. Bhava pravaha. Uparamam. The vision of those lotus feet stops the powerful flow of this river of birth and death, the time that we've been caught in for millions of births. Paramam padambajam. They see your lotus feet. Yeah, nice. And then what else we got? What is it? Yeah, well, not about the lotus feet. Well, here's one that I taught Balaram years ago. Krishna meets the gopis on the back plain, Kurukshetra battlefield, after many, many years. A very emotional scene, And he's trying to speak to them and convince them that we're not really separated. I'm in everyone's heart, I'm always with you, like that. So they're a little disappointed. They want to take him back to Vrindavan, right? I mean, they're trying. That's what Bhakti Yatra is all about, right? With the love, Radharani's rope of love, they're pulling him back to Vrindavan. So the last verse they say, okay, but please give us this benediction. Ahus chate nalinanaba padara vindam yogeshadai vidivachintam agada bodhai. Sangsada kupa patidota vadada lamnam geham jishamyasadhanam. So Ahus chate, oh lotus-naveled Lord, and nalinanaba padara vindam, please manifest your lotus feet in our hearts eternally. We're just ordinary household ladies. Geham Jusham, as we perform our household duties, please let us remember those lotus feet. And then here's the line to remember, the third line. Sang Sadakuba Patitota Tanava Lambam. Those lotus feet, which are the refuge, those who have Sang Sadakuba Patito, refuge Uttara, who can lift us out of this well of Sangsara Kupa. We've fallen into the wells of samsara, birth and death. It's like andakupa, it's a blind well, it's often used. Sangsara kupa patita. For those who have fallen into this well, the gopis are the most advanced devotees, but they're identifying themselves as we're just household ladies, of avalambam. That those lotus feet, keep them manifest in our hearts as we perform our household duties, so we'll be lifted out of this well of samsara. Very sweet verse. So there it is. Any questions, comments?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Prabhu.
Regarding some of the things from the lecture, one of the things is that we're taking many births, and then you mentioned briefly in Bhagavad Gita how, well, there's also the verse about
being born in an aristocratic family and after many births, you know,
Right.
everything's preserved. So, and of course, as Prabhupada said in the purport,